Mystery solved. We almost ruined a motor, but we didn't because I used my brain powers. Alright, what's going on, everybody? So what was supposed to happen is we are supposed to be on the road to North Carolina right now. We're supposed to be on our way to the racetrack for a fun weekend of warm weather and racing. But unfortunately, I don't know that we're going racing. There's still a small chance, but after what I just saw, I don't know. There's been a couple warning signs. So last night I fired the car up, and then today I fired it up. I went live for a little bit, whatever, was looking over some stuff. I was trying to adjust the idle because it seemed like it was idling a little low. The timing shouldn't have changed, so I was going to get ready to check the timing too. I was just working through a few things, but there was a couple warning signs that something was going on. One of them being the oil pressure gauge. The oil pressure gauge was jumping. Like, it always had a little movement to it, so I was like, you know, part of that's a little normal, but this thing was really like, the oil pressure was jumping way more than I've ever seen it. Then, firing it up today, I noticed that there was a lot of excessive blow-by in the passenger side of the motor. Like, steam was rolling out of that thing. Damn dogs.
He's running.
Yeah, Banjo, are you alright? Are you okay? Are you okay, buddy?
It's thirsty.
I know. You're all running. Then I started noticing the excessive blow-by in the passenger side, which, once again, one of those things, always had a little bit of blow-by. I've noticed it. I've kept an eye on it. Now, couple this with the fact that when I first fired it up, it just didn't sound right. It wasn't, running right. I went through, made sure all my wires were good, made sure all the cylinders were firing, checked it. I just been checking stuff off the list. Then I heard the noise, and the noise was like a squeak. And I started walking around trying to find and isolate the squeak, and there's only one belt on it. It's only the alternator, and I don't think it was coming from there, and it sounded almost like it was coming from the motor. So at that point, just shut it off. There's no, if the motor is squeaking, that's a big problem. But this is a good motor, and if we can catch something early on, I'd rather catch it early on and prevent any possible issue. We got the oil filter off, and then I've got this is the oil out of the filter. I'm gonna have to grab my flashlight and probably come over there. So I don't know how well you guys can see, because you got to kind of move it around to see, and camera focus and everything else. There's definitely some metallic material in there. This is the oil that came out of the filter. Now we're gonna cut the filter open and see what's inside there. Depending on what we see inside here, we might be doing nothing. Like, we might not go into compression testing and everything else. It might be time to start pulling the motor out. If that's the case, I have no idea. I've got races coming up, everything else. We'll figure it all out. But first we're gonna cut the filter open and kind of see if we can get an idea from that. So. There we go. Look at that thing. Holy shit.
No.
Huh?
I said, oh no.
Yeah. This motor's coming apart. I can feel it coming. Look at that in there. This is going to be very hard to see, but there's like chunks of shit in there. Like, we shouldn't have chunks. You want to pull a motor tonight?
Sure.
I don't know. I'm going to get on the phone with the engine guy and talk to him and see what he wants to do about this.
Alrighty.
But I don't have an engine hoist here. But literally, I mean, just everything, just now, everything has to come apart. All that.
Perfect time. Food's here.
Is that really
Yep.
what's happening? Yeah. Look at that. You want to be in a
Ta-da!
No.
Oh, sorry.
Here, hold this here. Where's Blanky? There's
Oh, Blanky's on the couch.
Well, there really ain't a whole lot to talk about. The fact of the matter is, we've got an issue. Either, bearing material. Somebody said, hey, look at the gear on the distributor, blah, blah, blah. Well, we're going to have to pull it all apart anyway. So now we're just going to get started on tearing this thing down. And it has not been out since we initially put it in. So let's start working on tearing it all down, getting everything out. I got some boxes, some bags. We're going to try to be half-assed organized about this. Good news out of all of this is we're finally going to find out what the cam specs are. Because now we got to take the whole thing apart. Most of the top end of this stuff apart to get the motor pulled out. I got to start working underneath, which is going to be boring. Probably not going to be a whole lot of filming because you can't really see anything under there anyway. But I went ahead. I've already pulled, I pulled the filter earlier, so I pulled the drain plug on the oil. Got my oil sample to send off to Hot Shots, which looks fantastic. But then I cleaned off the drain plug. There was a lot of stuff on this drain plug, and really probably more than there should have been considering I just changed the oil. But you guys can see, whoop, like, yeah. So we're definitely eating something up. Now, the flip side to it is this motor owes us nothing. It's like over 10 years old, hasn't been taken apart. Daniel hooked us up with it. I've even been texting him, talking to him, showing him some of the stuff, and everybody's like, oh, it's a bummer, and like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little, obviously down about it. Like, it sucks. I wanted to be racing this weekend, not pulling a motor out. But the motor owes us nothing. We caught it before possible catastrophic failure. And it's going to allow us to do a couple things, like figure out what cam is actually in it, and then might be a good opportunity to change the cam if we find that it's not what the most suited for this setup and that kind of stuff. Also found somebody had mentioned the gear on the distributor, and the gear on the distributor was missing a little chunk, and that may explain some of the copper stuff that we were seeing, but that doesn't explain this wonderfulness that is a paper towel. Should not be able to stick to a magnet. I'm gonna get up under this thing, start disconnecting some of that stuff. We still got to run out to the shop and get my engine stand and get my engine hoist so we can get this thing up and out of here. After that, we'll probably put it on the stand, start taking a look at what does it look like. Maybe a light inspection. I don't know. I've got a gentleman up north. You know, it's a hike, but that I've been talking to, my engine guy I've been telling you guys about. He said, you know, let me know if you want to bring it up here, what we're doing. I said, I don't really know yet. You know, part of this is time dependent because we're supposed to be at the thaw out in like 2 weeks. So can we get the parts we need, whatever's wrong with it? You know, can we get the parts we need? Can we fix it in time? Can we get it all back here and back together and blah blah blah? And honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like, I'm kind of frustrated with this thing right now. I'm ready to do some El Camino shit. Just like, I just want to go put a motor in the El Camino and go cruise around and make loud noises and burn the tires off. Because this stuff, I've been working all week. You know, I put a focus on going to this race. Been working hard all week, every night, every day on it.
Very late nights.
You know, very late nights. And then now, you know, the flip side is we could have drove all the way to North Carolina round one. I could have let go of the button, and worst case scenario, been going, you know, 115 miles an hour and the thing let loose, and then I crash and wreck the whole car, and that's not a good time either. So
I'm very glad that you're thinking about these things and checking stuff beforehand instead of just going with it.
yeah, there's way too much money in this to just be, you know, like I said, if it was an LS motor, we'd have put it on the trailer and gone race. Like, also a very good time to head to SHITBOXSupply.com and get yourself a t-shirt so we can get ourselves a new motor.
Some
Not a new
sizes are
motor,
running
but-
out though.
Huh?
Some sizes are running out in like hoodies.
Of course they are.
So
Oh, there's our engine guy now. Let's talk to him. What's up, brother?
So, a lot of what you see on drain plugs is separation of oil, the moly and the oil.
Right.
And really it depends on what base moly they use in their oils. You
Well,
can see some of the black can be separation. A lot of times in oil pans, when the motors run a bit, you'll see a lot of moly in the bottom of the oil pan.
okay.
It's because of separation in the oil, you know, and that'll get on your drain plug. The thing is, the stuff that you can feel, it's like chunks.
Well,
That's what you're worried about.
I can tell you, I just put it on my finger, like I had just gotten some off my finger, and I wiped
Yeah.
it off my finger, and what's left is a bunch of metallic flakes. Like I can literally see.
Okay, well that's there should be no flakes in separation of oil. But some of the moly you see, you know, like down the road, I don't want you to take a drain plug out and
Right,
say, oh,
right.
it's all black on there. You know, if it's black and it's not, you know, have what you're talking about, the specks of metal,
Yeah.
that's not a good thing, you know.
Yeah.
And that's magnetic also.
Okay. The
No.
separation is magnetic?
No, but what I'm saying is the moly is, but those flakes, if they're magnetic, if you put a magnet to them and it sticks to them, then it's not bonded to the moly paste that was in there, like sticking to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I can hover the magnet over the paper towel and it'll lift the paper
And
towel up.
that'll lift it, yep.
So, and now that I see this on my finger, like,
Right.
you know, there's nothing bigger. There's, I don't even know how I would compare this. There's sizes that are chunks that are the size of like the tip of a needle, and
Right.
and smaller, but there's a lot of them too.
I mean, again, if I was there, I could make a defined, definite answer. But I mean, from everything you're seeing, there's got to be some metal, some bronze from the gear
Right.
floating around in the motor. But there's also, you know, some problems going on. I mean, you got to be safe. You'd rather be safe and have a little damage than have a lot of damage, you know?
Yeah, because this stuff here, this isn't bronze. This is pure silver. This is,
Right.
yeah.
No, and it's probably, it could be cam bearing material. It could be anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have a cam bearing stuck to the lobe spinning out.
Well, and the flip side too is it's hard because there's been so many warning signs now with the loose rockers, the
Well,
the oil.
the loose rockers can be a lot of different things. I see one comment, and I had said that to you previously, that the needles can cause a lot of destruction. I use lifters. I'm very good friends with one of the guys that owns a lifter company, and I use, in my high-end stuff, I use needleless lifters. The rollers have bushings in them.
Right.
I use a bronze bushing in some of them, and the high-end stuff we use a DLC coated axle in them, and those really work good.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about all that shit. But anyway, I mean, this is a mysterious motor, so you got to kind of look at it and see what you even got,
Yeah. So I think keep on the game plan of get it out, get it on a stand, take the pan off, look around a little bit, and then kind of give you a shout from there.
That's probably where I would go.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna get back to it then and keep pulling this damn thing out, and hopefully within the next 24 hours or so, I would like to think I'll have it out and on a stand and start going through it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me know what you find if you keep finding stuff.
All right. Sounds good, brother.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
So get it out, get it on a stand, and figure out what we can see as far as if there's, take the pan off, flip it upside down, take a look and see if there's anything more that we can see. Obviously, when the pan comes out, we might be able to find some more chunks or more this, that, and that. I don't know. Big block life, big block problems. All right, back to work. So we got the motor out and spilled a little bit of stuff, so we spent some time cleaning, pushed the car over so we can get out of the way, because the game plan is going to be, we're going to try to find out what's wrong with this thing, and then as soon as we find out what's wrong with this thing, we're going to push it to the side so I can make plans on getting it fixed, getting parts, whatever. We're going to start building Mallory's motor. But the first thing I want to check, a buddy of mine told me to check out, this is going to be hard because that gasket maker in the front and back there. First thing I want to check is see if I can get the lifters out, because I'm not saying that there's a lifter problem, but we got some metal material in there, and I know a couple of the rockers were loose, and that may have been my mistake, or it might be a lifter issue or something. So try to do this without screwing everything up. I gotta get all this shit up out of here. Try and get all through all that gasket maker. Hey. The flip side of this too is when we pull the intake off, then we'll be able to take a look at the cam too. Oh, gasket maker is my enemy. All right. Well, I don't see nothing crazy. We'll have to loosen all the rockers up and all that stuff to get the lifters out. I just wanted to get a good, quick visual inspection on it. Ooh, that one's not good. Oh, I can tell you we're tearing up the cam. If I could name top 10 things I didn't want to do, buying a new cam would have been one of them. But it's not that it's super horrible, but yeah, we've got a failure. It's a case closed. Probably got a lifter failure right there. You can see it's eating up the cam real good. You know, don't get me wrong, that's not great by any means, but yeah, it's eating up the cam. That lifter right there probably failed. Case closed. So, shit. It's not good. It doesn't explain everything. You know, oil. There's still some oil pressure, you know, problems, and essentially what's going to have to happen now is this whole thing is going to have to be gone through. But I can tell you right off the bat, we've got a lifter failure right there, and it's eating up the cam. That's not going to help nothing. I don't know if that is all of our metal shavings, but good news so far, knock on wood, is that if that's the worst of it and some possibly new bearings, it's not the end of the world. We really caught this in time where that could have been a major failure or even worse. Now, it doesn't explain the blow-by on this side. That doesn't explain the oil pressure jumping and stuff, but the oil pressure, I don't know if I had talked about it earlier in the video. We found a piece of the bronze gear on the distributor was missing, so that could be factoring into the oil pressure jumping problem. But this right here, this would have eventually could have cost us a motor, in all honesty. So it's not really what I was looking for, not what I was hoping for anyway.
What were you hoping for?
I don't know, honestly.
Not that.
Not that. I mean, I was hoping for, we just got some bearings going, you know what I mean? It's an older motor. It is what it is, you know what I mean? This motor, you guys got to understand, this motor has been together, you know, like over 10 years. And when Daniel gave it to me, he said, throw it in and run that thing. And I'm not a jerk. The guy gave me a motor, so I'm going to do exactly what he said. And I did. And we have raced on it, you know, quite a bit. We've gotten a lot of fun, a lot of enjoyment out of this thing. And it just is, it's just, this is what happens when you race. Like, motors need freshen ups and stuff and whatnot. And fortunately, you know, we caught this before we really messed up the cam and, you know, just possibly broke more parts or did something else. Like, anything could have happened. We could have broken stuff, you know, ended up dropping a valve or something stupid. A lot of things could have happened that didn't happen, and fortunately I found it now. So I'm gonna go cry in the corner.
I won't film that.
Yeah, because now it's probably gonna need new bearings, new lifters, cam. It's gonna need a lot of money. Yeah, that's it. I'm not gonna say that's where all of our metal's coming from, but that's a pretty clear.
Whoa.
Yeah, just because it's it was trying to stick on that gasket material there. Yep. So we've got, let me text the engine guy. How's it going? You really want to know? Well, lifter screwed, eating up cam. I think that's probably gonna be a wrap on this video. I could take it further, you know. Eventually we're gonna drop the oil pan. You know, now this motor's coming completely apart now, and if we're gonna take the cam out, so it just sucks. But what I really need to do is, there's an important race coming up in like 2 weeks. Yeah, we've got like 2 weeks before we're supposed to be in Darlington, and that's going to be an issue. Oh, the reason I'm so upset about the cam is because it's one thing if it needs new bearings, but I don't know. I haven't bought a cam lately, but I know that I've been hearing that a lot of folks have been trouble getting them. You know, I know that for the longest time, companies were saying that they were waiting on cores and this, that, and the other. So I don't know. It's a big block. It's a 496, so it's a 454 block. We could probably use an off-the-shelf something. We don't need a custom grind. Don't get me wrong, a custom grind specific for the application, you know, this is how much nitrous we want to spray, this is how much it weighs, this is what converter we got, everything would probably be most efficient. But if we really need to get back to racing immediately, an off-the-shelf cam would work. But I don't know. There was a guy that sent me an email about making a cam for your engine and stuff. So maybe I can hit him up and say, hey, you know, do you have anything big block Chevy ready? And on top of that, this is all going to be expensive fixes. You know what I mean? Decent lifters are not cheap. Good cam is not cheap. Then we are going to have to completely disassemble and put new bearings in and that kind of stuff, because we can see where the material is coming from. And that's just the first thing I saw. Like, I didn't even, you know, loosen the rockers yet. There could be other lifters that are failed.
No, right here with you. Watch you.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, this is just the first thing I found. There could be more. Like I said, that doesn't explain some of the other issues, like the blow-by and stuff. We would have to take the heads off, look at the rings and all that. This whole thing is probably going to need one whole refresh. So, to be honest, I don't know if we're going to make Darlington or not. You know, it's a lofty goal to say that in 2 weeks, because not even 2 weeks, it's 2 weekends from now. Today's Saturday, and we're racing in literally 14 days, I think, from now. So we would have to have this thing rebuilt in like 7 to get it back in the car and everything. That's quite a task. So, you know, I know I make a lot of jokes and stuff, but I really do appreciate you guys watching this video and watching all the videos. You know, I've seen a lot of support. I also want to thank, there's been quite a few people that have reached out, like, just, you know, to lend a hand. You know, hey, I'm in this area, I build motors, or, you know, hey, I've got these kind of parts or whatever. Like, it really truly does mean a lot to me, because it just shows how many people watching, you know, want to see me do well and want to see this car together and kicking ass and everything else. So I don't know what the rest of this teardown is going to hold, but I can tell you this is depressing. I need to come up with a game plan. So I got to call the engine guy, I got to call a few people, get that figured out. But what we can do for now is I can do something less depressing. And since Monday is Valentine's Day, can all the parts I bought for the El Camino count as your Valentine's Day gift?
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't want anything for Valentine's Day, like maybe some steak, but like other than that, like.
Okay, well,
but
we'll
that's
do
a
some
duo
steak.
thing. We both get steak.
We both get steak, and I say, now that we know kind of what's wrong with this is going to be beyond the scope of what I'm going to do. Not that I can't change the cam, but if we're going to be putting new bearings in it, I mean, we could do that at home, but if we're going to be changing the cam, possibly, you know, changing the cam profile, we might want to measure the lifters. You know, there's other stuff that's involved. If you guys come look at the front here, if you want to show them the front of this, I'm pretty sure this is one of them. This, you know, this cover This cover here is an adjustable cover for cam end play, so in and out. So that's got to be set. I don't know what that. I mean, I'm sure somebody could tell me, and then I could set it. But this might be something where, like, if we really rebuild this motor, depending on how it's done, where it's done, all that kind of stuff, like, that might be something where I go to an engine shop and maybe I do it, but side by side with an engine builder who can, overlook, because it's the LS I'll do blindfolded. Like, I know those things well enough, and they just eat abuse, and we're not making anywhere near the power that this thing is making and all that. But maybe for something like this, I'd like to be with somebody slightly more experienced. So, once again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for everybody that's reached out. I really, truly, honestly, I really do appreciate it. I don't know quite where we're going to go from here. I'm going to send a few text messages, make a few phone calls. We're going to clean up the garage. Mystery solved. We destroyed a camshaft. Well, we didn't. We almost destroyed a camshaft and almost destroyed a very nice motor. But,
What?
Oh, you're giving me the 1 minute.
No, like, we're going to have to go back because the timer apparently had cut off. I didn't hit stop or anything, but it cut. So I got to figure out where.
Great.
Yep.
Oh, well.
But I was watching, so it had to have been very recently.
Yeah. We almost ruined a motor, but we didn't, because I used my brain powers to realize that something was wrong. And, ooh, that's a chunk of something. Or is that gasket material? That's gasket material, I think. So, but until next time, we're going to go do fun projects and work on Mallory's El Camino that are not as stressful and everything else as this.